Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mirror Mind, the channel where we dive deep into the world of narcissistic personality disorder and emotional healing. I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first time, welcome to a space where we explore the truth without judgment and always with compassion. And if you've been with us before, thank you for coming back. Today's topic is one that is incredibly important, deeply personal for many, and sadly, far too common. Narcissistic abuse and CPTSD, that's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Let's be honest. Narcissistic abuse is not just emotional manipulation. It's not just mean words or being treated poorly. It's something that chips away at your soul, your reality, and your sense of self. And when it goes on for months, years, or even decades, it doesn't just leave you hurt, it leaves you changed. Chapter 1. What is narcissistic abuse? Let's start with some clarity. Narcissistic abuse is a pattern of emotional, verbal, and psychological manipulation inflicted by someone with narcissistic traits or narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. This abuse is designed to control, diminish, and dominate another person. It often includes gaslighting, making you doubt your own memory, perception, or reality; devaluation, constant criticism, shaming, or undermining; love bombing and discard cycles; silent treatment, stonewalling, or emotional neglect; control disguised as concern. What makes narcissistic abuse so damaging is its covert nature. It's not always yelling or obvious threats. Often it's subtle, a raised eyebrow, a sarcastic comment, or emotional withdrawal that sends a chilling message: you don't matter. Chapter 2. Who are the victims? Anyone can become a victim of narcissistic abuse. But there are some common threads. You might be empathetic, caring, peace-loving, maybe even someone who had narcissistic parents growing up. Narcissists are drawn to people who are emotionally generous, conscientious, and conflict avoidant because these traits make you more susceptible to manipulation. You might have grown up in a family where love was conditional, or you had to earn approval by pleasing others. If that sounds familiar, narcissistic abuse may have felt strangely familiar, like home, but not safe. Chapter 3. What is CPTSD? Now let's talk about CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Unlike PTSD, which often stems from a single traumatic event like an accident or assault, CPTSD results from repeated, ongoing trauma, especially trauma involving interpersonal relationships. This includes childhood emotional neglect, living in a toxic romantic relationship, being in a long-term abusive work or family situation, the kind of trauma where you can't easily escape and you often don't even realize how bad it is until much later. CPTSD symptoms often include emotional flashbacks, not images, but overwhelming feelings of shame, fear, or helplessness; difficulty trusting others; chronic feelings of emptiness or worthlessness; hypervigilance, always being on guard; deep self-doubt and shame; dissociation or emotional numbing. Sound familiar? That's what narcissistic abuse can leave behind, not just pain, but a rewired nervous system that lives in fear, shame, and confusion. Chapter 4. How narcissistic abuse causes CPTSD. So how does narcissistic abuse cause CPTSD? Because it's relational trauma that happens in the context of a relationship. It's not one slap, one insult, or one betrayal. It's 1,000 tiny cuts over months or years. Being gaslit until you don't know what's real. Walking on eggshells every day. Being blamed for everything. Having your emotions minimized or weaponized. Being told you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or not enough. It's not just the abuse. It's the chronic invalidation of your reality. And the result? A nervous system that doesn't know how to feel safe ever. Over time, you stop trusting others. Then you stop trusting yourself. Then you start to feel like you're the problem. That's the wound CPTSD leaves behind. Chapter 5. It's not in your head, it's in your nervous system. If you've been through narcissistic abuse and you're struggling with focus, anxiety, flashbacks, or you feel frozen in life, that's not weakness. That's not laziness. That's trauma. Your brain and body adapted to survive a toxic environment. Your fight/flight system became overactive. Your sense of time became distorted. Your self-worth was dismantled, then replaced with shame. And it wasn't your fault. This is not about blaming you, it's about understanding you. Once you see that CPTSD is a normal response to abnormal circumstances, you stop asking, what's wrong with me, and start asking, what happened to me? Chapter 6. The lingering signs, how CPTSD shows up in everyday life. Let's talk about what CPTSD actually looks like in daily life, because many people don't realize they have it. You might not have nightmares like in classic PTSD, but your body and mind are still screaming for safety. Here are some common ways it shows up. 1. Emotional flashbacks. These aren't visual. They're emotional storms that suddenly take over you, feelings of shame, helplessness, or worthlessness that seem to come out of nowhere. It could be someone raises their voice and you freeze. A simple rejection sends you spiraling into self-loathing. A mistake makes you feel like you're going to be punished. That's an emotional flashback. You're not overreacting, you're reliving trauma emotionally. 2. Inner critic on overdrive. After narcissistic abuse, the voice of the abuser often becomes your inner voice. You might hear, "You're so stupid. You're too emotional. You'll never be enough." But those aren't your words. They're implanted beliefs. Things you were conditioned to believe. And they keep the trauma alive even when the narcissist is gone. 3. Hypervigilance. Do you constantly scan for danger? Do you feel like you're always waiting for the next emotional attack? That's your nervous system stuck in survival mode. It learned that safety was never guaranteed, so it never fully relaxes. 4. Trouble with trust. You may have trouble trusting others, even kind people, because deep down, you're afraid of being tricked, manipulated, or used again. You may even sabotage safe relationships without meaning to. This isn't weakness. It's trauma protecting you from being hurt again. 5. Emotional numbness. Sometimes you might just feel nothing. Empty. Detached. That's a defense mechanism. When your body has endured too much emotional pain, it shuts down to protect you. But this emotional numbness can also leave you feeling disconnected from joy, love, and life itself. Chapter 7. The Trauma Bond. Now let's talk about something deeply confusing, the trauma bond. You might think, why do I miss someone who hurt me so badly? Why do I still crave their approval? Why can't I walk away? Even though I know they're toxic? That's the trauma bond. A trauma bond is an emotional attachment formed through cycles of abuse and intermittent kindness. It's when your abuser sometimes gives you love, validation, or attention, but only to pull it away later. This creates confusion, craving, and deep emotional dependency. Your brain becomes chemically addicted to the roller coaster of love bombing, devaluation, abandonment, then sudden attention again. This is not love. This is manipulation that wires your brain to crave the person who is hurting you. Breaking a trauma bond is one of the hardest parts of recovery. It's not about logic. It's about unwinding the emotional, chemical, and psychological ties that have been programmed over time. Chapter 8. The Inner Child and Identity Loss. Many survivors of narcissistic abuse, especially those with CPTSD, describe feeling like they've lost themselves. And that's true. Because narcissistic abuse isn't just about what was done to you, it's about what was taken from you. Your voice, your truth, your joy, your self-trust, your identity. You may feel like a shell of who you once were, or like you never even got to become who you really are. This is often because your inner child, the part of you that is vulnerable, curious, and emotional, was silenced, shamed, or punished for existing. Narcissists often train you to abandon your inner child, to perform, to please, to fawn, to survive. But part of healing is rescuing that inner child, rebuilding the bridge to your most authentic self, giving yourself the love and protection you never got. Chapter 9. Therapy, where true healing begins. Let's talk about therapy because CPTSD is deep, layered, and relational. You cannot think your way out of it. You must feel, process, and rewire, and therapy can be life-changing when done right. Here are some powerful therapy options. 1. Trauma-informed therapy. This is not just talk therapy. Trauma-informed therapists understand how trauma lives in the body, brain, and emotions. They move slowly, gently, and with safety. 2. EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. EMDR helps reprocess traumatic memories by using bilateral stimulation, eye movements, or tapping. It helps disconnect the emotional intensity from painful memories, allowing you to finally feel peace. Many survivors of narcissistic abuse find EMDR to be deeply healing. 3. Somatic therapy. Somatic therapy focuses on the body's response to trauma. Because CPTSD doesn't just live in the mind, it lives in your shoulders, your breath, your gut. Somatic therapists help you reconnect with your body, discharge stored trauma, and feel safe again physically and emotionally. 4. Internal family systems, IFES. IFES teaches that we all have parts, including wounded parts, protective parts, and core self. After narcissistic abuse, these parts can be in conflict. IFES helps you understand. Why one part of you wants to leave and another stays. Why one part feels angry and another feels ashamed. How to soothe the inner critic and protect the inner child. This work helps you heal your inner world so you can live more peacefully in the outer one. Chapter 10. Choosing the right therapist. Finding a therapist can feel overwhelming. Here are some tips. Look for trauma-informed or CPTSD literate therapists. Avoid therapists who say things like, just forgive them, or you're too sensitive. Ask if they're familiar with narcissistic abuse or relational trauma. Pay attention to how safe you feel with them. That's more important than their credentials. A good therapist won't rush you. They'll listen, validate, and walk with you through the mess, not try to fix you. Because you're not broken. You're wounded. And wounds can heal. Chapter 11. The Road to Recovery, Small Steps, Big Healing. Let's begin with an important truth. Healing from narcissistic abuse and CPTSD is not linear. Some days you'll feel strong and clear. Other days you'll feel lost, ashamed, or overwhelmed. That doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're healing. Healing isn't about getting over it. It's about moving through it, integrating your experience, and learning how to live with safety, trust, and self-worth again. Let's talk about how that happens in practice. Chapter 12. Self-compassion is the foundation. The first and most essential step in recovery is self-compassion. You may carry shame. You may blame yourself for staying, for not seeing the red flags, for going back. But here's what I want you to know. You survived. You did your best with the tools you had. You were manipulated by someone skilled at deception and control. Your trauma responses, freezing, fawning, shutting down, were survival strategies, not character flaws. Healing begins when you talk to yourself like someone you love. It makes sense you're scared. You've been through so much. You don't have to be perfect to deserve peace. Chapter 13. Reconnecting with the body. CPTSD disconnects us from our bodies because when we live in fear, the body stops feeling like a safe place. Part of healing is gently, slowly learning to come back into your body. Not all at once. Not forcefully. Just bit by bit. Here are some practices. Deep breathing tells your nervous system you're safe. Grounding techniques, like touching something soft, naming what you see, or pressing your feet into the floor. Gentle movement, walking, stretching, yoga, dancing. Body scans, noticing sensations without judgment. Your body remembers everything. But it also knows how to release pain if you give it safety and time. Chapter 14. Rebuilding your identity. Narcissistic abuse often strips you of your identity. You may not know what you like, what you believe, who you are without them. That's okay. It's part of the journey. You're not starting over, you're starting fresh. Try asking yourself, what made me feel alive as a child? What values matter to me, not what others taught me? When do I feel most like me? Start small. Wear what you like. Eat what makes you feel good. Create routines that serve your nervous system. Say no even if your voice shakes. This is how you reclaim yourself piece by piece, day by day. Chapter 15. Setting boundaries without guilt. Boundaries are essential in CPTSD recovery because your sense of safety was often built around pleasing others or avoiding conflict. Now you need to learn something new. You can disappoint people and still be a good person. You can say no without explanation. You are allowed to protect your peace. A boundary is not a punishment. It's an act of self-love. Start with basic ones. I need time before I respond. I'm not comfortable discussing that. I'm focusing on my healing right now. You may feel guilt at first. That's your trauma talking. Sit with it, but don't let it make your decisions. Guilt is not always a sign you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign you're doing something new. Chapter 16. Grieving what you lost. You may need to grieve the person you thought they were, the relationship you wanted, the years you gave, the version of yourself that was lost. That grief is real. Don't rush it. Grieve with tenderness, not shame. Healing doesn't mean pretending it never hurt. It means allowing yourself to feel the pain without letting it define you. Give yourself permission to mourn. And then to move forward. Chapter 17. Finding safe people. Recovery is not meant to happen alone. CPTSD thrives in isolation. It tells you no one will understand, you're too much, or you're better off alone. That's the trauma talking. Start by looking for people who are kind, consistent, respectful of your boundaries, willing to listen without trying to fix you. These don't have to be perfect people, just safe people. People who make space for the real you. You might find them in support groups, in therapy circles, in trauma-informed communities, or through shared creative, spiritual, or healing spaces. It's okay if it takes time. But please don't give up. Connection is medicine. Chapter 18, Life After Narcissistic Abuse. Yes, it exists. You may wonder, will I ever feel normal again? Will I ever love again? Will I ever stop thinking about them? Yes. 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 But not by forgetting the past, by integrating it. By learning to trust again. By choosing yourself again and again and again. Life after narcissistic abuse is not about being perfect. It's about being real, resilient, and rooted in your truth. You will feel joy, build trust, know peace, stand in your power, love yourself deeply and without apology. And that is something no narcissist can take from you. Chapter 19, Final Words from Mirror Mind. If you're watching this and feeling overwhelmed, here's what I want you to know. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not crazy. You are healing from something that tried to destroy you, and you are doing it with courage. CPTSD is not a life sentence. It's a roadmap. It shows you what needs love, attention, and care. And you can heal. At Mirror Mind, this space exists because your story matters. Because narcissistic abuse is real. Because your recovery is valid. And because your peace is possible. Keep going. You are doing beautifully even if it doesn't feel like it. You are reclaiming your life one brave step at a time. Closing message, channel signature. Thank you so much for spending this time with me here on Mirror Mind. If you found this helpful, please like, share, or comment below. Your voice might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. This channel is a safe place for anyone healing from narcissistic abuse and looking to rebuild their life with clarity, strength, and self-love. You are not alone. I'm proud of you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.